Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at noon.
2 people injured in a road rage shooting. The latest on the search for the driver and what law enforcement wants you to know. But first, we are less than an hour from hearing from the family of a man killed on a roller coaster at Epic Universe. The family of 32-year-old Kevin Rodriguez Zavala will be joined by well-known civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing them. He's holding a press conference at the Crowne Plaza in downtown Orlando on West Colonial Drive. That's where we find our Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti, who is joining us live now. And Mike, what can we expect today?
Yeah, well, we know that Kevin Rodriguez Zavala's family wants the release of all maintenance logs, inspection records, and ride data and video footage that may shed light on the last moments of Kevin's life. Earlier this week, when Ben Crump announced that he was representing the family, he issued a statement saying that they're demanding a, quote, thorough investigation and full transparency. He went on to say, quote, a man died after boarding a ride that should have been safe. We will hold all responsible parties to account and fight to ensure Kevin's family receive the answers and justice they deserve, end quote. Now, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is investigating Zavala's death under the manslaughter statute, but the agency does note this is a catch-all statute for all deaths deemed not natural. We know that Zavala had a pre-existing spinal injury, he was in a wheelchair, and was on medication at the time. The president and COO of Universal Orlando Resort told staff in a letter that everything functioned as intended during Zavala's ride, that the equipment was intact, and that team members followed procedures. State investigators later affirmed what the COO said, telling us that their findings aligned with Universal's. But just to center it back on Kevin Rodriguez Zavala himself, it's important to note this is the first time we're going to hear publicly from his family. We believe his girlfriend, who was with him that night, will also be there. They're going to tell us, what this loss has meant to their family. We've talked a lot about what this means for Universal going forward, the investigation, but important to center it back on the person himself. Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, 32 years old, died a week ago today while riding the Stardust Racers ride at Epic Universe. Of course, we'll bring you the latest after this press conference wraps up on air and online on clickorlando.com. We're live in Orlando. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. Developing new details out of Dallas, where at least one person is dead and others are in critical condition after a shooting at an ICE field office. Authorities say a gunman opened fire on the ICE facility from the roof of a nearby building, shooting 3 detainees, killing at least one before taking his own life. No ICE agents were hurt. The FBI is investigating the shooting as an act of targeted violence and say early evidence from rounds located near the shooter show messages of anti-ICE messages. The facility was the target of a bomb threat last month. That suspect was detained. We'll have updates throughout this day on this story on air and online. Let's take a live look outside now as we turn to your weather. This is our camera in Daytona Beach, where we're seeing a mix of sun and clouds. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by, and we're also watching closely a few areas in the tropics, one really in particular that has your attention.
Yeah, Invest 94L. That's the one we're going to be watching pretty closely as we are watching basically twin waves. At this point, we have one that's still a couple hundred miles away from the Lesser Antilles, one right over Puerto Rico. Both throughout the last couple of hours starting to really show more signs of development when it comes to cloud cover and overall the convection within both of these. Hurricane hunters are en route to actually go in and investigate this wave, Invest 94L, even though Invest 93 might actually develop before Invest 94. That's the one that we're going to be watching a little closer since it will be moving a little closer to the East Coast. So let's show you the latest model runs. They've been in a pretty good agreement, especially Invest 93 doing a better handle on the development, and then things start to spread out. But notice Invest 94 still taking it out to the Caribbean, into Florida, staying out to sea. There's still a lot of uncertainty. The questions is how are these two systems going to be interacting since they are so close together? We're also watching the potential for a cutoff low. Those tend to be a little difficult to forecast because they kind of move a little more erratically. So the placement of all these different steering patterns are really going to dictate where both of these systems will go. But at this point in time, they are going to continue to get pretty close to us here in Central Florida. We'll have more details on the latest model runs coming up in just a few minutes.
Candace, thank you. We are following a developing story in Osceola County where a road rage incident left 2 people shot and hurt. Deputies are still searching for the driver accused of firing the shots. It happened yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Cypress Parkway and Marigold Avenue. The victims were taken to the hospital. News 6's Angie Casada is near where the shooting happened and has the latest on the search for the suspect.
We know both men who were shot had to be hospitalized. One of them was injured so bad that they had to be airlifted to Osceola Regional. And even though this all ended up right at the front doors of another hospital, this is how it unfolded. Osceola County deputies say it started around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon when 2 drivers cut each other off on Cypress Parkway. Both cars stopped, and detectives say the suspect got out yelling and threatening to shoot. The victims drove away, turning onto Marigold Avenue, but that's what investigators say the suspect opened fire. A bullet grazing the driver's head. The other passenger was shot in the head and had to be airlifted. Whoever did this, though, kept on going, and the sheriff's office saying these types of violent encounters are becoming too common.
This could have been so much worse, and we see this happen over and over again. People have to let these things go when these types of incidents happen while we're driving on the roadway. You cannot let your emotions get to such an extreme that it causes you to take this measure where you want to take somebody's life over it.
Again, deputies are still searching for that suspect. They say it was a male, but so far they don't have a description of the vehicle they were driving. But as soon as we get any details on the vehicle description or surveillance video, we will be bringing that to you here on air on News 6 and over on clickorlando.com. Reporting in Osceola County, I'm Angie Casada, News 6.
In Marion County, I-75 southbound is back open after being shut down for hours after a dump truck hit an overpass. The crash happened around 2:30 this morning at County Road 320. That's north of Ocala. Florida Highway Patrol says the truck hit the overpass, sending debris onto the interstate, closing the lanes. All lanes are reopened, but traffic is restricted to 1 lane on the County Road 320 bridge with the flagging crews in place. This just in, a former Brevard County teacher is going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out about probation. We'll have that for you in just a moment. But first, weeks after heavy rain swamped neighborhoods in Volusia County, homeowners will have the chance to hear what's being done to try to fix it. The county council chair is holding a special town hall meeting tonight. News 6's Mark Lehman spoke with a homeowner who says the flooding problems have been getting worse.
This meeting is happening after neighborhoods like this one saw a lot of problems recently. The issue was drains here along the street just couldn't handle the amount of water that fell in a short amount of time. Homeowners are now worried about what will happen during the next storm and are hoping to hear some answers today.
Our drain out here out front was just swirling. It was not draining like it should be.
Kevin Stevenson says for the last couple weeks, he's been worried something like this could happen again.
Do you know how deep that is right now?
Stevenson's wife taking the video earlier this month when an intense rainstorm overwhelmed Port Orange's stormwater system and sent water into their home.
It was flooding my bathroom, my living room, my kitchen, some of my daughter's closet, and our bedroom closet as well.
In response to the problems, Volusia County Chair Jeff Brower is hosting a town hall tonight. The meeting will give neighbors a chance to share their story, ask questions, and learn more about ongoing efforts.
More new construction coming in every day is hurting our neighborhoods, especially when we don't have a good drainage system in place.
Stevenson says there are things he'd like to see local leaders address, from speeding up drainage improvements to concerns that new construction is creating more problems. Most importantly, his hope is to see less talk and more action.
We need to bind together and make sure that none of this happens again.
Now, one obstacle in fixing the problem could be recently passed Senate Bill 180, which some say restricts local governments from regulating development. All of this will be discussed during tonight's meeting, which begins at 5:30, and that's at the Port Orange Regional Library. In Port Orange, Mark Lehman, News 6.
This just in, a former Brevard County teacher will have to wait a little longer to see if she can get off probation early. Carly Anderson was convicted for her role in an alcohol-fueled house party. Back in May, Anderson avoided jail time and was sentenced to a year of probation after being found guilty of disorderly intoxication and resisting arrest. But her lawyer tells our Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero she's satisfied all the terms of her probation, including community service and paying fines. Today's hearing was postponed to next week due to a new judge looking at the case. UCF football had their first press conference today since the sudden passing of a beloved member of their coaching staff. The school confirmed Monday offensive line coach Sean Clark died following a medical emergency earlier this month. The 50-year-old joined UCF staff this fall after helping to turn around Appalachian State's program the 6 seasons prior. Sports director Jamie Say asked head coach Scott Frost today about the lasting impact Coach Clark had with his players in his short time with the Knights.
You know, Sean's compassion and passion for his players and love for his players was real, and they knew that. And that's why he fit in so well here. And he was a perfect example of the type of man that I want in our building.
Clark leaves behind his wife and 2 children. UCF opens Big 12 play Saturday when they travel to Kansas State. Kickoff is at noon. Neighbors in the Poinciana area tell us driving can cause some serious headaches, but some relief could soon be on the way. Coming up, we'll tell you where the planned roadway may be and how soon it might come to fruition. We'll leave you with a live look from our Mount Dora camera on this Wednesday. You're watching News 6 at noon. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new $25 million Gold Rush Multiplier Scratch-Off from the Florida Lottery.
Traffic in Poinciana is a nightmare. That's what drivers tell our Osceola County community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez. She's near State Road 538, where a new way around the area could be in the works.
The Central Florida Expressway Authority is considering connecting Poinciana Parkway to the Turnpike. While residents say relief can't come soon enough, it's still likely years away.
Osceola County is booming, projected to hit a population of 410,000 in 2025. It's actually a little over 468,000, and it could double by 2040. And with more people comes more cars and increased drive times.
It's something that if I have to go to VA in the morning, I have to leave out of my house at, 5 o'clock in the morning just to get there at 7? The traffic is too much.
But the Southport Connector project is aiming to make it easier to get around. It would create a 15-mile expressway connecting Poinciana Parkway to the Turnpike while also widening Cypress Parkway to 6 lanes.
Do you think the project will be beneficial for traffic flow?
Oh, yeah. If they do it, yeah. If they do it, it's pretty good. It might calm down a little.
Some have opposed the elevated expressway in the middle of Cypress Parkway.
Nobody really wants it, especially the people in Sola Vita, because it's going to bring the value down of our homes, because they're saying it's going to be a wall.
Despite the concerns, Carmen Boos, who attended one of the meetings on the project, feels it's necessary to improve the constant congestion.
Every time you go on the road, even where it used to be 10-15, it's now half an hour. So it's stressful. The road is stressful.
In December, the Central Florida Expressway will present a recommendation to approve the project before its board.
If approved, I'm told the design phase could take up to 5 years, and then construction could take anywhere between 4 and 5 years, meaning it'll be a long time before the first car drives on this potential new expressway. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Beautiful blue sky behind Stephanie in that shot there. And here's what it looks like along the coast in Brevard County from our Launch Credit Union camera. Pretty mix of sun and clouds out there. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by. And Candace, we've seen a nice start to our day, tracking the potential for more showers. And of course, everybody is talking about the tropics.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in the weather department, which is pretty typical for kind of the middle and end of September. We're still dealing with that heat, though, Julie. Afternoon showers and thunderstorms today, not as widespread as yesterday. And we're going to increase the chance even more on Thursday. So overall, about a 40 to 60% can't be ruled out throughout the rest of the weekend into the weekend, as highs still in the low 90s, still above average, but feeling like those triple digits. And as it normally would typically look like in September, we are watching several different areas in the tropics, although there is one that we're going to be watching pretty closely throughout the weekend. Take a live look outside. People here enjoying the day. Much better conditions as Hurricane Gabrielle continues to pull away. Conditions should start to improve before more tropical moisture could potentially rough up the surf again by the weekend. Right now in Daytona Beach, we're at 87 degrees. Good afternoon to you guys in Orlando at 87, 85, a little further south along the coast there in Melbourne. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Our highs today, upper 80s, low 90s today, up to 94 degrees potentially from the Villages up through Ocala. But looking at the heat indices, once again, we're talking about them cranking above that 100-degree mark, 100 to 102, maybe 103 in some locations. So making sure that you're drinking your water, you still have the sunscreen going on because the heat and the temperatures are really going to be feeling more like summer. Also very typical as summer setup, we're going to be watching those afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing just west of 95, pushing inland, producing a little bit of rain. Coverage today not as widespread again as it was yesterday, but notice what happens on Thursday. Today, the overall coverage goes from east to west. Tomorrow, it's flipped west to east. Notice by about 5, 6 o'clock, we're going to have more of a later onset to those showers and thunderstorms. As they start up late, they're going to linger late as about 9, 10 o'clock. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas will be pinpointing some rock and thunderstorms. Again, this will be Thursday night. As we continue throughout the rest of the weekend into the weekend, again, we are watching these twin waves, both with a high-end chance of development, both expected to make their way towards the north and west. Although Invest 94, for obvious reasons, is going to be the real focus at this point. It's certainly being the main focus for hurricane hunters at this point. You can see hurricane hunters left around 11 o'clock this morning from South Florida on their way to what this currently looks like. That is the tropical wave. As of now, models are picking up that it will start getting its act together as it moves into some warmer waters, less wind shear, not as much land interaction like it's certainly doing right now. Look at the Invest 94 intensity models. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, it looks like it could potentially start developing into a tropical storm. Some models even take it up to a Cat 2, even a Cat 3 within the next 5 days or so. Now the question is, its intensity is kind of up in the air still. So is the overall direction. We have these two systems. They're going to be battling for moisture. They could possibly start interacting with each other. We also have a cold front that's going to be adding to the mix. Most of the models at this point, as of noon on Wednesday, all keep it offshore from the Florida coastline. But that could easily change, especially as we start getting more data from hurricane hunters that are currently in there, really getting a better idea of what the system even looks like at this point. So, of course, make sure to just check back. This is one you don't want to sleep on, Julie.
All right, Candace, thank you so much. Another launch from our Space Coast this morning, sending 3 big spacecrafts into space. Coming up, how they will provide critical information for mapping and observations around the world. This morning, SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launched from the Kennedy Space Center, sending 3 spacecrafts into space.
3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff. Go Falcon, go IMAP, go Swifo L1, and go Caruthers.
Look at beautiful. Headlining the lineup is NASA's Interstellar Mapping and Acceleration Probe, or IMAP. It will help map the heliosphere, which is the protective solar wind bubble gas around our solar system. NASA's Caruthers Geocorona Observatory will focus on the Earth's outermost glowing atmosphere, extending beyond the moon. And NOAA's Space Weather Follow-on Lagrange 1 will be pushed into full-time, around-the-clock forecasting service. Jimmy Kimmel Live is back after a nearly week-long suspension. Disney says it objected to the host's comments after Charlie Kirk's murder. Kimmel addressed that in his return monologue while defending free speech. Disney says it lifted the suspension after, quote, thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. Critics claim the company originally caved to President Donald Trump. He says Kimmel's return on ABC, quote, puts the network in jeopardy. Sinclair and Nexstar Media are continuing to preempt the show on their stations. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, looking at the next couple of days, rain chances will continue to stay very summer-like. Rain chances about 40 to 60%. Highs in the meantime, low 90s. So certainly a lot of tropical moisture, which will fuel those sea breeze showers and thunderstorms. But speaking of the tropics, we are still watching Invest 94L. It's one that, again, we just got to keep close tabs on just because it's going to be a little closer by as early as this weekend.
Okay, we're watching it. Thanks, Candace. Switch over to the News 6 Plus streaming app right now to watch News 6 Extra. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.